The president was very receptive to listening. That is a key to understanding.
Senator Tim Scott saying President Trump listened to him during their discussion of Trump's response to Charlottesville. But within a day, Trump reiterated his both sides comment about white supremacists, suggesting Trump may not have been listening all that well at all. There are reports he is one of the least attentive people to ever occupy the White House. But is Trump setting a wider tone that devalues listening in our culture? We know humans aren't great at listening to begin with. We forget half of what we hear within a day and only remember 25% in the long run. Today's politics can make it worse. A new study released just this month shows people on the left and right are motivated to avoid even hearing from the other side. Both sides fearing that different views will cause frustration or alter the reality they want to hold in their minds. Joining me now is a legendary author known for his listening. Journalist Gay Talese famously refused to ever use tape recorders in his interviews. He says you listen better when you take notes. He covered the Selma marches for the New York Times, is the author of 12 books and the winner of the Norman Mailer Prize. Gay, always an honor to have you here.
If I may speak as not a political person, I know that the people you have on are so tuned into the moment and so sage, of course, because they're on your show. Let me say that Donald Trump is probably, in our lifetime, the worst listener. But were he a listener,
the worst listener, he
would not be Donald Trump. I think when you think of Trump, his towering achievement is that he listened to nobody ever. Never.
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 Okay.
In the history of non-listening, but also he's the man of his time in that we're part of a narcissistic age. This is the narcissistic age of America, and we have the narcissistic president running our time, whether you like it or not. I think in the history of non-listeners, however, if you go back, I bet Napoleon was not a listener. I mean, Castro, how would Castro ever, if he listened to anybody, conquered Cuba with 12 guys?
Fidel Castro.
Fidel Castro. I mean, the Trump is a combination of like Evel Knievel or Sylvester Stallone in Rocky movies, or a bit of he's like a wire, walks across wire like Philippe. There's something very not admirable, but something impressive about Trump's ability to listen to nobody and get where he otherwise would not got.
Well, you're saying he might connect with and reflect a very superficial culture. You, as someone who does listen, how do we get out from this? I mean, you don't want young people, whether they want to be journalists or firefighters, whatever they want to be, to take the advantage, take the example of this president if that's no listening.
The problem is that in order to stop people who are so single-minded as Trump, you have to have people who have a sense of conviction that matches his own bouldering, blustering way. And you don't have that many people, because people who are non-listeners do not know how to deal with the non-listener. He is such a forceful, negative personality. But I'll tell you something, if he listened to anybody, which he hasn't, he wouldn't be in the White House.
Right. So and that's the thing about him, right? And that's the thing that it's so interesting talking to you with your view of history. But I think historians will look back and say, he did get this far, at least through the Electoral College.
Yeah.
And that is a ratification of something. But that's like, you know, fraudulent advertising can work. It doesn't mean it's where you want everything to go. Let me play for you Trump explaining to Chris Wallace why he doesn't need to listen even to the best experts we have.
I don't have to be told, you know, I'm like a smart person. I don't have to be told the same thing and the same words every single day for the next 8 years. Could be 8 years, but 8 years. I don't need that.
He's saying he doesn't need daily intelligence briefings.
Contrary to our expectations or aspirations, the guy is right. I hate to say he's right, and I hate to say that I'm saying things that are probably going to offend your audience. But the point is,
our audience listens closely. They're open-minded.
This society we're in now doesn't listen either. Sometimes you go to opera, you go to baseball games. People are not even watching a ballet. They're watching their voice, their cell phone. Who's calling me? Who's calling me?
How do we change it?
Well, you can't change what seems to work for people. And what works for people is a sense of self. We're in a nation that is very absorbed with everybody. There's the world of selfie, world of self-centeredness. It dominates our society. I'm not saying everybody is condemned by it or anybody should be concluded into this, but we are in a period now that has to be addressed with some distance, not political day by day, but some distance historically. Why did Trump get to be where Trump is? Sadly, he got where he is because he believed only he knew the answer.
Well, as
awful.
the saying goes,
It's not what we want to hear, but here we are.
the hour calls for optimism. We'll save pessimism for better times.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
You know, I'm a big admirer, so I always love when you come by.
You're such a successful guy. I dare not differ with you.
Stop. Gay Talese, thank you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.